As Bees in Honey Drown, directed by our next guest, Susan Watson Turner, opens at Lehman College on December 2nd. The play is part of Lehman Stages, the series of productions that come out of Lehman College, the theater program at Lehman College every year. Of course, Susan Watson Turner is also a Lehman College professor, as well as a producer, playwright, and author. Welcome to the program. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you for having me.
We should say that we're colleagues in the same department here at Lehman.
Yes.
But tell me all about this new play that you're directing.
Well, you know, it's a very contemporary piece, and I think it's chosen because it's very gender-free, racial-free. It's being cast across all those kind of traditional lines, and it really deals with how we set our goals as people in life. How do you decide what's really important to you? And we find a writer who, in the words of the author, is on the circumference of fame, something that we all want to have. You know, we all want to be famous. Mm-hmm. He's just sold his first book, and he's just about ready to make it big. And he falls into a con. Now, I'm not going to tell you how it comes out because you have to come and see the play. But after he makes the journey through this whole kind of ring around the rosy, I don't know.
This is the main character.
This is the main character. He comes back to where he started and finds out that he was really a little better off than he was. Of course, he has more money than when he started, but he understands what's really important in life.
Where does the title come from? As Bees in Honey Drown.
Well,
makes people think. What do they mean by that?
It does, because something we make can drown us. Something we create can drown us. And there's a lot of discussion and controversy in the play about being a creative person. You know, some people feel being artist makes you very vulnerable. Some people feel being artist kind of protects you. So, which is it, according to the playwright?
So basically what the playwright is saying is sometimes you can overdo it?
Well, you can overdo it, but you can also be drowned in your own creation. Something that you did yourself. So it might not be something someone else is doing to you particularly. Because how do you fall into a con? You fall into a con because you're greedy. Right. And the con man works on your greed. And that's how they get you, you know. And so that's kind of the honey that you're drowning yourself in.
Susan, explain how these productions here at Lehman come about. This is part of a class. This is part of our theater program. How is this produced?
Well, the theater program, you can't learn theater in a classroom. You know, it's like trying to be a nurse without ever working in a hospital. The theater is our laboratory, basically. So after you come out of the class, you need to be able to put it into practice. You don't know what the adrenaline feels like till you're standing on the side of the stage ready to go on, and the audience is there, and you're remembering your lines, and you have to know if you have your costumes. Very similar to what you do right here. Mm-hmm. So the theater productions through the theater program are a large part of what we do as part of our instruction and training of our students. As well, we bring in outside professionals sometimes to work with us. As well, we bring in graduates from the program. For instance, this piece, the main character, main female character, is the graduate from, I think she graduated in 2007 or 2006, Natasha Burgos. And I brought her back because, number one, she's really ready for the role. And this was a humongous role, humongous amount of lines to know. And she's at that point in her career where she was ready for that kind of piece. But she'll get to interact with some of our students. She's now working downtown for Plum Benefits. She books Broadway shows. And that kind of interaction with our students from people who've come out of the program, are working in the industry, is good for us. They get to see how professionals work. They get to see how we work here on campus. The part of the production that falls under Lehman Stages is a very interesting thing that goes on here at Lehman College. We have wonderful arts here. We have the Performing Arts Center. We have Lehman Stages.
And I want you to explain the difference, too.
And we have the art gallery, which a lot of people don't understand that that's all part of what going to college is about, you know. the Performing Arts Center brings in all kinds of acts from Moscow and I don't know, Brazil, and everywhere.
It's like the Lincoln Center of the Bronx.
It is, really. Yeah. And the programming is very affordable. The parking, you can't beat it. And the prices, are competitive to, what the other performing arts centers do. And the programming is very interesting. A lot of the community people come here and see, shows. I brought my husband to see Shaka Khan. He hasn't forgotten it.
Wow.
He got to go backstage and meet her. He was happy. The Lehman Stages works with the theater program, but they also produce on their own. And they have done plays. I think the last play they did, La Vida del Perro, which was a play they did in Spanish.
The Life of a Dog.
The Life of a Dog. It was very well received. And one of the Lehman Stages employees actually wrote the play. He directed it, and they produced it.
So a lot of these Lehman Stages, the ones that come out of the theater department, are they written sometimes by students, or the scriptwriter is a student?
During the summer, we have something called Summer Works. And that's when students really get a chance to write, produce, direct, design, act in their own productions. During the school year, we like to use established playwrights so that they get an idea of what the real world is going to expect from them. And so I don't think we've done any student plays during the school year, but the summertime we do that quite a bit. And I think in the future we're going to start doing them in the winter break.
So it's mostly to give the acting students an opportunity to get up on stage?
Not just the acting students. We have all people that work behind the stages. They help in costumes. They help lighting. In fact,
there's even a makeup class.
Makeup class. Sometimes there's choreography. Sometimes there's dance. This particular piece has a prologue and an epilogue that I wrote called Tent City, which sort of puts the play in context. It takes place down on Avenue A, and the play takes place in the 90s. So when people were living out in the park, and the main character walks through the park and sees all these homeless people around, but they all have little individual lives of their own. So they get a chance to do some original work and some established work.
So when the students come to Lehman and they're interested in the theater as a career, how many different routes can they take and still get to the theater? Because they don't necessarily have to be an actor.
No, absolutely.
And how many opportunities do we offer them to specialize in different fields?
We just redid our curriculum, and we have a main body of courses that we consider all students need to take. And that's your histories and your play analysis and an intro to acting and an intro to working backstage. Then you can go off and specialize. If you're interested in playwriting, you can take a playwriting track. If you're interested in acting, you can do that. If you're interested in directing, you can do that. If you're interested in dramaturgy, you can do that. If you're interested in literature, you can do that. We have a new one coming up that's not on the books yet, but you'll be able to major in arts education, which means you take your theater courses, and if you're interested in teaching from K to 12, you will be able to leave here with your minor in education and go on to take your test and certify.
We need to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll keep talking to Professor Susan Watson Turner. And I want to know exactly how she picks the actors for a particular character when we put this play together. We'll be right back and we'll talk about that.